This is a video of a trip we took in March of 2018 up to the Keyesville area near Lake Isabella, just northeast of Bakersfield. This trip was with Mike and Sean Eason and Bob Shetler and myself. We took my brand new 2004 Suzuki DRZ 400. It wasn't actually brand new, but it had about 200 miles on it when I bought it. And this was the first ride I took with that bike. And I think prior to this trip, I had been on dirt bikes 3 times up at Gorman Off-Road Park. And that may be it. So this could be my 4th dirt bike ride, so a fairly challenging track for somebody with that experience, but baptism by fire. These flank trails on the side of the hill were really fun, but I was pretty nervous and not moving very quickly here first part of the day. Still trying to get my bearings with the bike, get the balance. This is a street bike. It's a DRZ 400S, which is the street variant, so it's got a lot of extra weight and emissions controls and turn signals. And I had taken the turn signals off, but it still had a lot of the other accessories still on the bike at this point. It's about 35 to 38 horsepower. It's climbing this hill in 3rd gear, so decent. But this is a trip before I made the modifications to a new exhaust and dropping the gearing down with a different set of sprockets. This is a place where we stopped for lunch, really nice spot up in the woods. And in addition to a nice quiet place, it had some really cool ladybug colonies here nearby our stopping point. So the bike really ran well. Mike and Sean both have the same basic model. They have the souped up version. Additional few horsepower and less weight, but overall pretty similar bikes. In fact, I jumped on Mike's bike here. It's a 440, mine's a 400, and so we compared a little bit to get a feel for what these feel like. I have a seat that's about 2 inches taller, so a little difficult for Mike to touch the ground maybe, but other than that, same basic bike. Bob here is on his old bike. After this ride, he bought his new Honda. It's Bob in front, and then Sean second, and Mike behind me. Some of these trails were pretty lightly traveled. You can see the pine straw here, not much dirt. Really nice sort of backwoods trails. A lot of sticks and branches, especially for a tall rider, so I really had to watch the duck quite a few places here in the woods. But we found this really nice trail that wound up being a new discovery for Bob, who was navigating here. A lot of fun in the woods, just a nice ride in the trees. So pretty funny here, Bob actually erasing the tracks as we exited this trail and really camouflage it so no other riders would discover this, so we could maybe enjoy it some other day. So most of this day was single track. You can see the ruts here. You can also see my speed increasing here as the day went on, as my comfort level got a little bit more. But still usually bringing up the back of the pack here. Sean in front. Just a beautiful day up in the Sierra National Forest. Sequoia National Forest, rather, in the Sierra Mountains. We didn't see snow on this particular trip. We had snow on a later trip to this same area. Since this trip, I've made a number of other modifications to the bike with new exhausts, those new sprockets on the front and back to help the gearing, and took a bunch of weight off. You can also see the challenges in driving through the woods. Really beautiful, but you have to watch out for trees and your angle of attack pretty carefully, but a lot of fun, good technical riding. We didn't see too much water. There's a couple streams across this trail, but overall a fairly dry day for us. Here's an example. These trails are maintained, so they're supported in a couple areas. You saw a little pad there. Here's a couple guys coming up on bikes, cleared the trail for us.
Two more guys.
Give them an indication of how many riders are behind us, or behind me, so they know what to expect. General trail courtesy. Either give them a hand signal or say something. This is really neat cover here. It's like a canopy back in the woods. Really pretty driving through, and then making our way on a more of a 4x4 trail back to a hill climb area. Again, my speed is starting to increase a little bit as I'm getting more comfortable, but still overall pretty cautious. Bob's behind me, as I recall, and starting to figure out how to jump the bike just a little bit on these hills to keep my speed up a little bit. It's all about keeping your momentum. So we came out to this high altitude area and then needed to climb this hill. This is for me in first gear, a mistake. I should have been in second gear and had a lot more nerve. You can see me slow down here and fall over. Hit a little bit of a bump and did not get loose on the bike and stand up. I tried, I think, 2 more times, did not make it. And on a subsequent trip, still did not make that hill climb, but I'm determined to go back and conquer that hill. So we had to go around and go over some logs and have some more technical fun to get around that hill. And that comes out at the top of the mountain, and then we come down this this fairly steep, long road back down to the parking lot. Just an absolutely beautiful afternoon sunset. This is Sean in front. This is a pretty rutted road. I think it'd be interesting to go up this road sometime and do this in reverse. But in an afternoon, this is really pretty coming down. You get glimpses of the Kern River Valley below, and occasionally we'll see the Lake Isabella off to the left here in a couple of these shots. This is good technical riding, ruts everywhere, so you generally have to stand up and manage the brakes and the gearing. People bring Jeeps up here and 4x4s. There's Mike coming down behind me. Just beautiful rock formations in the Sierras here. See the Kern River off to the right behind that tree, and the highway that goes back to Bakersfield, but just above the parking lot at this point. So a really nice ride for my first trip with the new DRZ, and great experience up in the Sierras with Mike, Bob, and Sean.